welcome to Tea Time with Afternoon Social. I'm your host, Teresa Lauterbach, and today is Try It Thursdays. Our special guest is Cheri Timko of Synergy Coaching, and she's a relationships coach. And here on Try It Thursday, she's going to give us some information and techniques on how to improve your relationship. So that is what she teaches on different relationship topics. So first of all, Cheri, I'd like for you to introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about synergy coaching, and then give us some of those techniques that you'd like us to try in our relationship.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm Cheri Timko. I'm a couples relationship coach. I come to coaching by way of psychotherapy. So I've been a psychotherapist for almost 20 years, and then in the last year have also added coaching so that I can help couples in a much broader way than I can, in therapy. So one of the things that I have discovered is that sometimes couples make relationship stuff too complicated. And so I have been working on ideas that help simplify so that they can try these tiny little things and see what kind of a difference it makes in the relationship. And when you add those tiny things together over time, you end up with big differences in the relationship. So that's where I come to the relationship habits.
So today you're going to share with us some of those tiny little things that we can do for the relationship habits.
Yeah. So we all have habits. We all have habits in our relationship, and they can be good habits or they can be bad habits. And the more good habits we have, the more close and connected we can feel without really having to try very hard to make the relationship work. And the more of these tiny little things that you have, the more your relationship is grounded and feels secure, even when you're not working on the relationship specifically. So I'll give you an example. Relationship habits are tiny little touchstones in the day that keep you connected to your partner. Now, they're a habit because you do them every day, which is how you make sure that they happen. You don't have to plan or think about them too much because you know that those are times when you're going to have your partner's attention and you're going to be able to connect with them. So a relationship habit might be saying good morning every morning, bringing your partner a cup of coffee. It could be sending a text throughout the day to check in with one another. It could be eating a meal together. It could be having 15 minutes at the end of the day where you catch up, or having a ritual at the end of the night where you feel, cuddle or feel connected with one another.
Sorry. Yeah, my mother she just lost her second husband, and one of the things that it was just exactly what you were talking about. Every morning he would get her a cup of coffee, and then they would sit down and watch Western show every morning. So That was one of the favorite things that she could hang on to now that he passed.
Those are such anchors in the relationship. Now, here's where people kind of go sideways on this. It's important to make sure that those happen every day, not because every one of them is going to be spectacular, but if once a week, that habit, you guys meet and you have energy and you do connect, then over time you build up lots of connections around that. So when I think about coffee, I think about sometimes you're going to hand that coffee and you're going to be like, here's your coffee, like totally out of it. But other mornings you might have more energy and it might be, hey, here's your coffee. How's your day going? What's on the plate for the day? Mm-hmm. What do you think is going to happen? And there's an actual real interaction there. So the habit is that you bring the coffee and then you bring that energy to that event. So sometimes it is much more meaningful but it has to happen every day. Otherwise, it won't happen at all, or it'll happen so sporadically that you won't get those moments.
Exactly. And that's why she was like, she remembered it more about the coffee, about the sitting down and watching the Western. Like, she couldn't tell you what the episodes were about, probably, on the Westerns, but she could just tell you, this is what we did every morning. And to build that relationship, even though it was a short marriage because of his passing. But
yeah, I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But so what else would some of these other habits or the techniques that they develop besides, like you said, morning routine and an evening routine, even text or call during the day? What are some of the other ways they can develop some habits in that relationship?
Yeah, I think these are very individual to the couple. And so what you're looking for are things that fit your personality, that are easy for you to do, that your partner also appreciates being done. So I can give you a list, but there's like, this is so unique to the couple. For some couples, it might be sharing a joke or being sarcastic with one another or sending a funny meme. Like, it really depends on the individual couple what their thing is going to be. And then it does become their thing. So that's part of what defines who they are. And that you want that to be different from what would make another couple who they are.
Right. It's creating that memory that, like you said, their thing. This is what we do together. This is our secret communication.
Sometimes it's secret. Sometimes it's the thing that other people find amusing about you.
Yeah.
You know?
So, yeah, you know that when you see some couples that have been married for many years, you can tell they've got their little cues. The way they look at each other, the way they communicate is far different from what sometimes, like you said, it's amusing to see them when they're communicating. So,
yes, sometimes they have a shorthand that they don't need to say everything.
Yeah. I know when they get older, some older couples, they end up talking too much. we don't want to hear all that. So, do you have any other techniques or information that you teach on that helps develop these habits? Or
yeah, I think that these are like, they have to change over time. The things that connect you in the beginning of the relationship are probably not the same habits that you're going to have 10 years in or 40 years in. It's also important to think about not letting them get so automatic that you don't bring any energy to those interactions. Because the idea is not to get into a rut with the same thing again and again, but to find those things that really matter to each of you, so that feels unique to the two of you. It feels connecting, it feels important, and it makes the relationship feel like it's something valuable and worth fighting for. So you do have to kind of adapt those to the circumstances. Like when you have kids, sometimes it's hard to set aside time to actually sit and look eye to eye and talk to each other. So you have to rely on other habits that will carry you through that time. But if you don't have any habits, then your relationship's going to feel really disconnected and lonely as you go through that time when you can't sit down and just talk to each other, making eye contact.
So it's more of, it's developing and working. It's work. A lot of people don't realize, especially young ones who are getting married in their early 20s, don't realize how much work it really is. Being conscious of some of those habits and those creating those connections.
Well, I think one of the mistakes that couples make is that they do these things when they feel it. And it's
Mhm.
important that when you feel that outpouring of love and kindness to your partner, that you do those nice things. But your relationship needs it when you don't feel it.
Mhm.
That's the habit part of it. Your relationship needs you to be kind to your partner, even if you're feeling agitated with them. So if you bring them a cup of coffee and you only do it when you think of it and you feel it, you're not going to do it a lot of days.
Right. And that says a habit is to do it every single day, or it's not going to be a habit, or even uh, date night on Friday nights, or something specific every Friday or every day. So I understand what you're saying, that if we don't create those and go through a month of Fridays and go, oh, when was the last time we went out? What did we do? And you tend to forget that you have something special. And I think that is a downfall for relationships there.
Yeah, absolutely. I have started a Facebook group around the date night idea. It's called Date
Mm-hmm.
Night Community. And we talk a lot about what is a date night. And typically we think of a date night as you get dressed up, you leave the house, you have a sitter. And really, you can have a date night that is in the house with the kids, in bed, or otherwise occupied. But that time together makes such a difference in the overall happiness of the relationship, particularly through time periods where you don't have a lot of time and energy for one another. Knowing that you have that time set aside, that really anchors, and it like calms down the conflict, because it's like, all right, we're still us.
Right. Yeah, it's turn off the phones. This is from this time to this time. It's nothing but family time or date night, and that's it. We're not going to include. We're not going to include anybody else. It's just our time. I
Yeah.
had a pastor that was very much into that Friday date night with his wife. It's like he'd even set up to where if you had an emergency, call a different pastor, because he was not going to forego his time with his wife.
That is a strong commitment to that
Right.
time together. Yeah.
And that's the key word too, is keep commitment.
Yeah.
When you're committed to those habits and you're committed to this is what we're going to do, then your relationship will have a foundation to be built a lot stronger.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love how these little things really turn down the intensity on arguments. A lot of times I think those arguments get fueled by feeling disconnected. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you have a lot of these touch points, there's a lot more goodwill towards your spouse. They have a lot more goodwill towards you built up.
Right. It's more of an extension of yourself, where he's really a part of me, because we share these special little habits and things. So,
Yeah. I also think it allows for more individuality,
mm-hmm.
because if I know that I have my husband's attention at these specific moments, then it also gives me the freedom to go and do the things that I need to do in between those. I don't have to plan and worry and think, because that's already how we do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, precisely. That's fantastic too. That you're right. We don't have to keep trying every day to do everything that your spouse wants to do or your partner wants to do. That we do have our own interests and things that we need to take care of ourselves and our own self-care. But that also helps your spouse as well, knowing, oh, hey, I am going to get her time at this time. So that's a really excellent point there too. Well, you've had some great relationship tips here today, and I think we're getting close on our time. And you mentioned about the Facebook group, and I'm going to put all of our contact information with the videos Is that a private group with the Facebook on the date night?
Yeah, it's called Date Night Community. It is a closed group, but it is a free group, and anybody can join it. There's a lot of encouragement and support and inspiration. And the main focus is that we are all people who are committed to our relationship. And so we understand the value of putting some time aside every week to spend with our spouse. I know for me personally, it's been a great piece of accountability, not in a bad accountability sort of way, but like in an encouraging, like I know that if it matters whether I post that I went out that week or not. So my husband and I have had that little bit of accountability in terms of making it a habit and doing it, even if it's not so convenient.
Right. Oh, that's great, because that's one thing couples may have a hard time reaching out to other people to help them stay accountable and stay on track, because you try to do everything yourself by yourself. It makes it a lot more difficult. So this is a great community that I haven't heard of one like this before, and I think that would be fantastic for ladies to jump in there and join that. Because there's so much going on in the world today. We need to do these things to build those relationships so that the stronger our relationships are at home, the stronger it is going to be out in the world.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely.
Thank you for supporting that with other women in the community. And it was great talking with you today. And we will, like I said, I will put all of her contact information on these videos. And we'll talk to Cheri later. Thanks a lot, Cheri.
Thank you so much.